What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Tempus TV. Welcome back to my lovely balcony, aka Tempus TV headquarters, aka the lovely studio for the time being. As you can tell, especially if you watched the recent videos, no more sling, still wearing it when I sleep. Arms feeling a lot better. Start stretching it out a little bit, and over the next week or so, I'm gonna start trying to rehab it a little bit, get back to normal, and then we'll be able to get out and explore a little bit more. But in the meantime, we're just gonna talk a bit. So if you've been following the channel for a while, obviously I'm living in Thailand now. I've been here for about 6 months, and I have so many great things to say about Thailand. I'm so glad that I came here. I really do love it, but there are some things that take some getting used to, but there are some other things that I might not be able to ever get used to. So if you don't know, I did injure my shoulder a few weeks ago. I had a spill on my motorbike. I had a dog run out in front of me, grabbed a bunch of brakes, washed the front wheel out, went down, took a shot to the shoulder. I separated my AC joint, which is where your collarbone connects up to your shoulder, and that was pretty rough. I've been on motorcycles pretty much my entire life, so this is not my first time hitting the concrete, but if you've never done it, it's a very specific feeling to be laying there in the middle of the road. You go from having a good time, wind in your hair, feeling nice, then all of a sudden you're laying in the middle of the road, you're hurting, you're worried if your bike's destroyed or if you're gonna get run over. It's something that you never really get used to, and I wouldn't wish on anybody. But the sad part is, this is a very big reality when it comes to motorcycles, and the more you're on it, it's gonna happen. So if you only ride a few times a year, you might get lucky and you might not go down for years at a time, but if you're riding every single day, obviously something is gonna happen at some point, which is why protection is so important. I did have my helmet on, luckily, and I did bang my head off the concrete. Shoulders heal up. If you get brain damage though, obviously that's something a little harder to bounce back from. So you probably know that traffic in Southeast Asia is pretty crazy. A lot of places aren't too spread out though, so people don't really have to travel as far. It's not like the United States where you need a car because everything is so spread out. There's no public transportation. Public transportation generally is pretty good in Thailand, but people don't like traffic and people have places to go, and sometimes they don't want to wait for the bus, catch a train, whatever. So obviously motorcycles are very, very popular in Thailand and Southeast Asia in general. So what comes with this? Obviously, more people on bikes. The traffic's crazy as it is. The traffic laws are more of suggestions, really. There's not, cameras on the roads like there are in the States. So people get a little bit crazy sometimes. A lot of people either drive really slow or they drive like maniacs. So what happens when you have this many people on bikes? Obviously, lots more motorcycle accidents. So like I said, I've been on bikes my entire life. All my friends have been on bikes, so I've seen accidents before. I've been in accidents myself, and it gets to a point where I would almost rather get into an accident myself than see somebody else get hurt, because I know how that feels to be laying in the middle of the road, like we said, and it's a terrible feeling. And it's one of those things that takes you a while to shake it off. If you do have a bad spill, getting injured is just a good way to take the wind out of your sails if you got stuff going on. If you've been following the channel, obviously I had to take some time off, which is never fun. I don't like leaving you guys hanging. I love making these videos. So having to do that and then you're in pain, it's really easy to get down on yourself. So I know that's a bummer for people, and especially on a motorcycle, you crash, you break your body, you break your bike, and then you gotta spend all this time bouncing back. Although there is a helmet law in Thailand, it's very, very frequent that you see people riding without helmets, which is really terrifying to me, because a lot of people think that you need to be going really fast to get super injured on a bike. Me, I was only going about 10 miles an hour, and the thing is that concrete is super hard no matter how fast you're going, and banging your head off something, it does not take very much to bruise your brain, or God forbid you have some serious internal bleeding. So wearing a helmet obviously is always a much. Unfortunately, there are plenty of people here who don't ride with helmets. There's plenty of people here who are super young and they think that you can just rip up and down the roads. I was guilty of that too when I was a kid, you know what I mean? It takes a couple spills before you really respect the bikes a lot more and respect the traffic. And sometimes people don't see, people pull out in front of you, so things happen. So if you've been watching the videos for a while, probably a month or two ago now, probably about 2 months ago, I was pulling out off of my street in my condo, going out onto the main road, Sukhumvit, and I pulled up on an accident right after it happened. Like I said, this is something that you never want to see ever, but it really resonates when you've been the guy on the ground. And those guys, unfortunately, I went and did some shopping, came back, and by the time I came back, those guys had passed away. And unfortunately, that is going to be a reality. If you spend a lot of time in Thailand, you're going to see these accidents, you're going to see people on the road, and it's something that you just never really get used to. And then unfortunately, the other day, while I was there's a 7-Eleven right around the corner from my condo here, and I was just heading over to get something to drink really quick, and as I'm parking my bike out front, I hear a crash out just right around the corner. And it's one of those things you don't want to look, but you got to kind of have to look, especially in that situation. You might be able to help somebody. So I went out, took a peek, saw a couple bikes laying in the road, but at that time I didn't see anybody. I thought maybe somebody had just washed the bike over and fell down. So I just went about my stuff, went inside, grabbed my things, and then came back outside. And unfortunately, when I was leaving, I did have to go back that way. And when I drove by, there was a girl who was laying in the middle of the road. She was awake, but she had some people there. They were holding her chin. It looked like she banged her chin off the concrete pretty bad. And judging by the sound of the crash, they were going pretty fast. Somebody definitely pulled out in front of her. When she passed me at 7-Eleven, she was flying down the road, super young, pretty girl. And unfortunately, somebody pulled out in front of her and she just hit him on the sides, and she was pretty beat up. I didn't see any more after that. I just drove by, and I do hope she's okay. But this is something that you're gonna see when you come to Thailand. So if it is something that bothers you, it's a good idea to just kind of try to avoid it and go around and not look at anything. But especially if you're a motorcycle rider, you know that this is something that's gonna happen all the time. And if it's something that makes you uncomfortable, probably a better idea to just take taxis and not get on the bikes when you're here. Unfortunately, this is a big reality when you come to Thailand. There are thousands and thousands of motorcycles, and the age of a lot of people on these bikes is really young, so they rip around, they fly around everywhere because, I mean, it's fun. Everybody likes going fast. If you ride motorcycles, you understand sometimes it's fun to just open it up and let it eat, you know, but at the end of the day, it's not worth it. So if you're coming to Thailand and you're planning on getting a bike, obviously, if you're super committed to it, wear a helmet. If you've never been on a bike before, I would just flat out suggest that you don't ride a bike here, just because it can be super unforgiving. There's so much more traffic. People are pulling out. There's tons of blind corners. If you've never been on a bike before, I don't think this is a very learner-friendly environment. But if you're super committed to it, obviously, grab you a helmet. I always suggest to wear some good gloves, because that's what's always, 99% of the time when you go down, that's the first thing you're gonna put out. And ripping up your hands and stuff can make your life just super miserable. Protect your head, protect your hands, protect your feet. When we race motocross, that's like the main things. Always wear boots, always wear a helmet. Dirt bikes and stuff too, it's goggles so you can protect your eyes. But here, you absolutely have to wear a helmet, because you don't need to be going fast to go down and bang your head. And then you're going into medical care here, which can be hit or miss. There are a lot of good hospitals in Thailand, but sometimes the lines and things can just be crazy, and motorcycle accidents happen all the time. So you're not gonna be the only person there. And if you have serious head trauma, it can take a while for them to get to you, which can end up really bad. Today's video is a little more somber than I like to keep the tone most of the time, but this is something that's a very big reality, and I just want everybody to stay safe. Trust me, I know it's a super big bummer to go down, and the last thing you want to do is be on vacation, come out here, get hurt, have to cut it short, pay a whole bunch of money. So if you do come out here, you get on a bike, get your insurance, make sure you got travel insurance, and make sure that your travel insurance covers x-rays, fractures, casts, things like that, because a lot of travel insurance doesn't. I found that out the hard way and had to switch mine. Luckily, I did it pretty quick, so that was all covered. But make sure you're covered. Get some experience before you get on a bike here, and as always, just stay safe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Tempus TV. Sorry for the tone today, I just wanted to be a little bit more informative, but we'll be back to our normal scheduling come tomorrow. Live stream is coming up this weekend as always, and like we always say, I hope you have a great day. Tell somebody you love them. I'll catch you in the next one.